For some of us, when it comes to educating our children, we just know what we're going to do. We just know in our heart, maybe that is public school, maybe it's private school, maybe it's homeschooling. We know what it is. But for others, maybe it hasn't been working, or you're just unsure, or maybe you want to try something new, but it just, in a way, feels a little overwhelming with so many options. I mean, there are so many options, right? Personally, I do think that that is a great thing, being able to work with our children where they're at. I do love that. And I love that for educating our children and just really building into their lives. But I know as parents, it can be confusing. And I've had a few people asking me, well, homeschooling and unschooling, are they the same? But what is this world schooling? Where does that fit into it? And I thought, great, let's look at that today. Let's look at homeschooling, unschooling, world schooling. Are they the same? What is the differences? And would this actually be right for you? Hi, and welcome to Learning Life. And thank you for joining me today as we just hit one of my favorite topics, education. Yes, you can get me talking for hours about it. I mean, I really do. I love education. I love the options. I love that there are just so many ways that we can meet our children where they're at. And I know that it can be confusing. We've got different school systems or philosophies of education, curriculum, and that's why I have done some videos on those and I've brought them. And thank you for watching them and for your likes, subscribes, and comments and just reaching out to me about it as perhaps you've been searching for options for your children. When it comes to education, there are so many options, right? Really, I thought today I would just bring in a little chart, being the teacher that I am, just sort of to help us as I want to show you what we're going to talk about and where. So let's think about education, okay? And we've got all these things underneath. I didn't write them all out, but we've got public school, private, Montessori, Waldorf, charter, this, that, the other. And of course, the one that we are very familiar with is homeschool. Most people are it's school at home. Okay. It makes sense. But then people start getting confused when they realize that there are so many different even types of things underneath homeschool. So today I want to see that in the broad scope of education, one option is homeschooling. And then we have a couple underneath, one being unschooling and the other one would be world schooling. And that's what I want to look at right now. Homeschooling, yes, school at home. Again, so many different ways. Are you going to follow a curriculum and you have everything for the subject? For some, it is very comfortable to have school at home. And I say, great. If that is what you want, to follow that curriculum, a timetable and all of that, you do it. You rock, okay? But for others, they're maybe I want them to be around others. And we do this hybrid thing. And I love this where you maybe go to school for a day, but the rest is at home. Or then there's unschooling, what I do. And I know that it sort of throws a few people when they're I say that we unschool. And I did do a video on what is unschooling. So check that out if you have more questions about it. And I even did one on why I, as a trained teacher and as someone who's worked in schools, would be unschooling her children. So check that out as well. I personally love it, okay? For us, I never thought that that's where we would be. I was all set for curriculum, but realizing how much I could invest in my girls and follow their leaning in what they wanted to learn. And that's what we do. And that is unschooling. It is a child-led sort of learning. I want to learn about this. Great. Let's learn about that. We're not thinking about everything has to be a subject. I love thematic learning and how it all just ties in together. And I especially love skills-based learning, which is what I do with unschooling. Oh, you want to learn about this? What are the skills that we need? And we do that. Of course, even in unschooling, there's a spectrum. And you have those that are radical and it comes to, we are not cracking open a curriculum at all, thank you. And it even fits into other parts of their life, like bedtime discipline, all of that. I am not a radical unschooler. I am here. We do use a math curriculum because my girls really love it and they love to build on that. I'm great if that's what you want, but everything else is following according to their interest. And I will say with unschooling, it is not an opportunity for the parents to sit back and go, they'll learn. Not a problem. They'll just learn. No, it is very active. Oh, you want to learn about this? It's about finding the resources, guiding them to helping them find good resources as well. Because you know what? I don't want them to just learn anything. There is a lot of misinformation and disinformation out there. And so when you are unschooling, as a parent, you are very involved. We're not just following a curriculum. You're sort of like having to lead and guide and create as you go along. So that is unschooling. But then what's this world schooling? Okay, people have been like, have you heard about world schooling? Like, what is it? And what do you think of it? Well, I have to admit, as a family, that's something we would love to do, is world schooling. And here's the clue. World, school. You are taking your schooling into the world. That's what it is. Eli Gerzon, who sort of really coined the phrase and looking at it, he was like, it's when the whole world is your school and not, school being your whole world, meaning like school is where you learn everything, but rather get out there into the world. It involves travel. Yes, sometimes travel stresses me out, but I also love to experience. And that's what world schooling is, giving child-led lifetime learning in an immersive way of learning about the world and cultures and all of those different things. When you are there in a country and you get to talk to the people and you're hearing the language and eating the foods and seeing the things and learning more about the history. And you learn so much more than if you are learning about it at home, like in your home-based country, And yes, I love learning about countries and I have learned like a lot. I still remember 4th grade learning about Japan. There was so much that we can learn because of books and the internet and all these great online resources. But you do miss out on the smells, like just on those rich, sort of almost overwhelming experiences. And so that's what world schooling is. And it's becoming more popular, especially as remote working is becoming more popular and families realizing we can downsize, we can pack things into a few bags, I can work anywhere. Let's go here, let's go there, let's do all of this, let's do all of that. And I love that. It is just, what a great way, sort of, and of course you can be hybrid in it. If you want to take your curriculum with you while you're still going around the world, do it. Do what works for you, but do you really want to be lugging around curriculum? But we can add in those experiences. Maybe, you can't go for a year or 2 or 3 or 4, but could you go for a little while and experience another country? Like, yes, you can. Allow your children to immerse within a culture because our younger children are learning so much from these experiences. And as we grow up and we have story tradition and all of those different things, it is just so beautiful and what great, incredible educational benefits that we have. Now, my girls are still young. Yes, they're 7. They have traveled since they were 7 months old. They have been to several countries. But what's been amazing is just even now, several years later, hearing what they remember. Like when they were 4.5, we went to Australia and we got to go to Vanuatu. And they do talk about the things that they saw and experienced. And they have been able to tell me and sort of explain the differences between Sydney and where we live now, even though we're both English-speaking cultures and all of those things. Just those experiences just tap something into them. And yes, they're also tri-national, but being there has just been so good for them. And it is stuck with them. We're looking 3 years later, how much those rich, rewarding experiences were for them. So that's what world schooling is. It is getting there, traveling, deciding, you know what, maybe this month, let's go to Japan and maybe be around Asia and a few countries. And then, we'll travel here, or maybe it's spending 3 to 4 months in one place, like maybe going to Mexico for 4 months. And then we're going to go here. And then that's what it is. Now, I think that unschooling and world schooling really do belong so well together, because we're not really looking at curriculum. I think, if we're looking at the next sort of level of unschooling is world schooling and being able to take that and having these full immersive experiences. So I'm hoping that makes sense. Just think about where it is, world schooling, there's our definition. Unschooling, we are not being like a school with curriculum. So to just like cap it off, handy dandy chart, under our full banner of education and all the different types of school systems and philosophies of education that we do have homeschooling. And then under that, we have Unschool and Worldschool. And really, in my mind, those two fit so well together. They're sort of like twins, that they can be together to create these rich, rewarding experiences. So thank you so much for watching today. And I hope that answered some questions for you. If you have any more, feel free to ask. I am here. I love to talk about these things. I love to help families work out what is best for them. Because, as I said, do what works for you. And we have to do that in education. That's what we're doing, with unschooling and the experiences that we have. And hopefully one day soon to be world schooling. Well, thank you so much for watching, for being part of this Learning Life community. And, you can join us in helping to get these videos out by sharing them with your friends, or you can become a champion, and you can do that through patreon.com, or through my website, LearningThis.Life.